Welcome to a brand new episode of
Polycab, India's #1 cable and wires company, Dream Home Season 6.
As we know, home is somebody's dream. And before we begin with this episode, let me welcome our panel of judges. Chief Architect of Kumar Group, Anuj Gopakumar, welcome to the show. Interior Designer and Architect, Sudha from Swasti. Welcome to the show. On this episode, we have a beautiful home from Calicut, the Koodathil House. So let's have a look at the house.
Hello everybody and welcome to yet another episode of Dream Home Season 6. Today I'm standing in front of Koodathil House in Narikkuni, Calicut district. It's a 3,000 square feet, 4-bedroom, single-story house built in the traditional style. When I say traditional, you can just make it out. Again, the terracotta tiles, the shade that they have used, and a typical pillar design, brown and golden. Even the color combination reflects the traditional style. The talk about the entrance has been quite nicely done. What they've used is the frontage area is huge. No, it's actually huge. There's a long pathway that comes from the main road. Then the frontage area is being covered by using the terracotta tiles. Just quite a cost-effective measure, as well as it's quite eco-friendly. They have a small pond with plants and all right in the entrance. The designing has been done quite smartly, keeping in view of the the various factors. Like the sit-out area has been given right next to the entrance. Just by looking at the exteriors, you can see they have used variety of things to add to the traditional aspect. In the same time, keep the house stylish. So I'm really excited to see the interiors. Let's just quickly go in. The major portion of the frontage area has been covered up using a lot of greenery. As I told you, it's a big 3,000 square feet house which is attached to an outhouse area. Outhouse area has a separate car parking space. There's a main car parking space right in the entrance. Also, one thing that stands out as a feature of this house is the various levels. The height difference that you can see, this level, then the steps that lead us to the house, then the outhouse area, the height level is different. You can spot a lot of traditional features in the exteriors of this house. To start with the pillars, the golden and brown design, which is like the traditional color of Kerala houses. There's a special note about the side walls. They have mixed ceramic tiles and stones for the work of the lower portion of the side walls. Ceramic tiles cover the common flooring space of the entire house. There's a long narrow sit-out area. I'm standing right at the edge of it. Even the door and windows have been done in the traditional wood style. So let's just quickly go inside and check out the interiors of this house. To start talking about the features of the living area, I'd like to explain first the block pieces, the window, which helps in the air circulation that has been provided in the front door space. Front door, if you look at the upper portion, small block pieces have been provided. Now the colors have been a little dull. They have kept the lower portion in a darker color. The upper is white, with the ceiling being done of completely wooden ceiling. As I told you, the flooring has been done using ceramic tiles completely. Then this portion, the wooden portion that you see, that separates the center courtyard space and the living area. The design on the center courtyard goes in sync with the design of the house. That is the traditional design. To talk about the features, well, first of all, it's an open space, as in it's open from the ceiling. This is the iron grill has been provided. Then for the flooring, they have used artificial grass. Pillars, the pillars that we have seen in the front, they've used the same design pillars. This was the area, the wooden, the space that partitions the living area with this particular space of the house. Bedrooms have been provided on the corners. There's a dining area right opposite to me and the kitchen right here. I'm in the master bedroom now. The color combination is similar to what we have seen in the other parts of the house. Windows have been provided on either sides, which helps in the cross ventilation, and they have kept the decoration and the furniture to the minimum using just the traditional wood. I hope you like the Koodathil House from Calicut. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.
I had a look at the house and I liked it. But from the judge's point of view, I'd like to know what you all have to say about this home. And Anuj.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that the house is in a very nice, wonderful setting. It looks like a very rural area with a lot of landscape and trees and everything. So the house is set a little, set in a very nice background. You have a nice driveway coming up to the house. So all that feature of the house is very nice. It's very cozy looking house. There is a nice veranda which runs around the house with a lot of pillars. So that's a very beautiful space. You will have people coming and sitting and enjoying the landscape and the nature, actually, we would say. But however, the landscape has not been done very nicely. The nature is there, it's in a nature setting, but the landscape could have been better. There's a lot more scope to do some landscape there. I think it's not complete. There's a terracotta driveway, but I believe some more landscape need to be done. Setting of the house is very nice.
They have begun to do a little landscape. I think it's because of the curved and circular driveway that they have. The materials that they've used is good. They've used terracotta jali work, which is basically very water absorbing. So there's no surface runoff, which is a very good thing. So eco-friendly, and it helps absorb the water. Coming back to the form of the house, the sloping roof gels well with the natural setting. The roofs are in a pyramidal form, which is quite traditional, actually, very traditional. But they've tried to bring in some modern things also into it, modern features also into it. They've used tiles on the walls as in cladding of the veranda. It's usually very useful because the veranda doesn't get dirty when people touch it and all that. A little bit of gold and all can be cut down, basically to give it that rustic look. The setting is very rustic, so that could have been avoided.
And that's with the exteriors of the house. Now moving on to the interiors, because the interior is something that would make you personally feel at home. So what do you have to say about the interiors of this home?
For the interiors of the house, we believe that the designer has tried to do some justice to the exterior by bringing some kind of traditional woodwork into the interior of the house. I personally like the ceiling. The ceiling was very nice. There's a lot of wooden work on the ceiling, very traditional. It's something from the history of Kerala architecture, but however there are certain areas which has not matched with the concept. There's a central courtyard which is nice, brings in a lot of light into the house. The whole house is set around the courtyard. I believe that the courtyard is bringing a lot of nice light and bringing a lot of it's the brightness of the house. But however, the courtyard could have been more natural, you know. Now they have just put an artificial grass on the courtyard, so I think a lot more work can be done in the courtyard. Put some real life plants, making it a more energetic part of the house, because you're going to be moving around that most of the time. Some of the furniture design could have been a little more thought of, because there's a lot of mix and match. There is this old jolly screen which you see traditionally in many of the old houses, and then some little traditional modern furniture, I would say, because they've used the traditional woodwork but done a little modern style in terms of the furniture. So some thought could have been gone on that. Generally they've used a yellow color on the wall.
Okay.
The yellow color as it is a nice, it's a nice color, but they've used it all around the house in all the walls.
Making it too bright,
yeah, making it too bright. So could have actually thought about giving one of the walls as a highlighted wall and then rest of it pure white, because the white will actually bring a lot of light, and yeah, it looks for that particular house, because already woodwork is there, so to complement the woodwork the white walls would have looked much better. If you look at the bedrooms, also all the walls are yellow, and they've not put any curtains on the wall. Of course, there's a lot of light coming in, but you cannot control the light in the room. One thing I would positively say I like about the house is the courtyard and the ceiling. Overall, I think the house is nice with a lot of light coming in.
Thank you, and over to you, Sudha.
Like we said about the exterior, the interior is also taken in that traditional style. And to actually match the traditional style, if you notice, the front veranda windows are actually panelled with wood.
Okay.
It doesn't even have glass. So then to make up for that, they've of course got the courtyard which allows the light to come in. So I guess it makes up for the lighting that is lost by the wooden windows that are kept shut with blinds also on it. The seating I felt was a little scattered because it's on all parts of the house. If you notice, the door is in the center. It faces the courtyard. That's fine, but you'll find that you don't have a seating circle. Most of the time when you have a house, you want to have a seating circle like we are sitting here, but that is sort of missing here. Lighting wise, it's doing well because it's like a nadumittammulla veedu. So that is nice thing that allows light to go into every room. So then there's no dearth of light in it. The rain comes in, which is another very nice Kerala feel to the house. That is very nice. The dining and the kitchen were seeming to be on the opposite sides. Maybe that also could have been planned a little better. And like he said, the bedrooms are full of furniture, I thought. So there's hardly any space to actually have the freedom to move and things. So that comes out of a person having their furniture. People are attached to their furniture, so they may want to have it. So probably that's why. And coordinated, a little better coordinated would have really gone a long way. Or use of totally traditional furniture would have suited well in a house like this.
So you've spoken a lot about the natural lighting. So what do you all have to say about their lighting, the decor and everything else inside the house?
If you look at the lighting, they have not done much on the lighting front. I'm talking about the artificial lighting. Of course, there's a lot of natural light in the house. The lighting could have been a little more thought about. Some of these spaces could have been accented with some accented lighting, given some specialized effects. The columns in the house, the courtyard columns and everything could have been lit up, and the whole thing would make the house look better. If you look at the color of the house, the colors they have used, the exterior they have only gone for white and the brown columns or the dark brown columns, but the interiors again is completely yellow. Every room and the bedrooms, the living room, it's yellow. I think the designers tried to bring some warmth into the interiors, but I believe that white would have been the best color. Something off white would have been the best color, because the ceiling, as he said, the ceiling and the woodwork would really then come up and give a lot of importance to that. Some more thought could have been gone into putting some nice decorative elements in the house, not overdo it, but few elements which could actually make the space more beautiful. That's what I feel about the lighting of the house.
And Sudha, what do you think about the artificial lighting, decor and every other aspect of the interiors?
Yeah, like we mentioned with the interiors itself, the lighting is huge. It plays a huge part in the interior ambience of the house. Natural lighting coming in doesn't really give an ambience. It gives a wide openness. The ambience that we create inside a house comes from the artificial lighting that we are able to provide, and that definitely could have been thought of. I guess it's the wooden ceiling that was the spoiler there, where they couldn't really integrate the lighting into the wooden ceiling, probably because of that. And they've mainly gone for wall lights. Wall lights have their limits to creating an ambience within the space. And the flooring is generally white, but they've used a lot of borders, which sort of constrains the space. You're sort of defining the space. When you have large areas, you give borders, then it sort of tells you the definition of the space is there. But otherwise, a floor left by itself always gives a feeling of expanse. So overall ambience of the interior.
Do you think with right placing things could have been better?
Definitely. Placing it right, finding the right kind of furniture. that makes a huge difference.
How do you think is the value of money for this home?
I would say they've used some natural materials like wood, which is traditionally been used in Kerala. About sustainable design, I would say they've used a terracotta kind of paving for the pavers, for the terracotta, which is very nice, which is very elegant, and also a little sustainable design or sustainable practice. And like Sudha said, the water actually percolates into the ground, so you're recharging the ground with waters. I think that's what I believe about the house is good.
We don't see an extravagance in this house. It looks very muted. Yeah. Other than maybe the excess use of wood in the ceilings, whether that was actually required in all the rooms. Wood can be used, like he said, it is a very permanent material. It can be used very well in the right places, but here we are at a stage where I think we need to conserve a little wood. That is something that needs to be looked into, whether you really need these kind of ceilings, the really rich hardwood ceiling. That's an extravagance.
So to begin with, how much would you rate the exteriors of the home?
I think I'd like to give 17 marks out of 25.
And how do you rate the exteriors?
I'm a little more generous, I'm giving 19.
Alright, fine. And interiors of the home?
The interiors of the house, I believe, could have been a little more thought of, because they spent a lot of money on the wood, and there's a lot of money on the house. A little more thought, coordinating everything, putting everything in the same perspective, ensuring that the flow remains from every room to room. Could have been better. So I think I would give 15 out of 25.
15 on 25. And what about you?
A little more generous again. I still think I concur with him, but I guess 17 is okay.
17 on 25. Alright. Now let's get to the decor, lighting of the home.
A lot of things they could have added in terms to bring the decor of the house nicely. So I'm again giving 15 out of 25.
15 on 25. And what about you? Lenient again?
Slightly more, 16.
16 on 25. So the value for money and sustainability.
I think I'm a little generous on value for money and sustainability, because some sustainable practices they've done, and also a little bringing a lot of natural light into the house. I'm giving 17 out of 25.
Alright, thank you. And you?
17 out of 25 again. This is because I'm sure in a setting as it is now, most practices would be sustainable. There's a huge difference between country houses and town houses. So I'm sure they've taken the advantage of the country setting that they have, the space around the house that they have. So I guess let's go for 17 out of 20.
So with Anuj, we have a total score of 64 on 100, which is quite decent. But yours, I'm sure they're going to be more happier because it's 69 on 100. And the public, it's out of 50, which is 33 on 50. And the total for this home is 166 on 250. And before we wind up with today's episode, I'm sure all our viewers would like to get few tips before making a home. And for that, I'd like to ask Sudha, what do you have to say about tips on the roof?
The roof is one of the most important exterior aspects of the building. Interior wise, it need not necessarily reflect the exterior roof. As we find today, the practice of doing a false ceiling inside the house, doing a sloping roof above a flat slab. So interiors, we can always modulate that to the way we want it. But the roofs actually give the appearance of the house. Kerala, climate wise, I think sloping roof is ideal. We have a lot of, I mean, traditionally we've always been using sloping roof because of the heavy rains that we have. But with the advent of new materials and the concrete structures that we are doing, we are very well managing the rains with a flat roof. So actually, speaking of Kerala, we are able to do both. We are able to work very well with sloping roof as well as flat roofs. Just make sure the drainage is perfect. Either ways, even if it is flat roof, even if it's sloping roof, it has to be perfectly drained for you not to have any problems. Problems occur when there are a mix of flat and slope. Concrete doesn't work so well here, so extra care has to be taken to make sure that it is leak proof. Leak is, of course, we know the umbrella over the house is what is most important. So that has to be taken care of extremely well, and right at the planning stage itself, not after the problem comes up. I guess the simple solution that has evolved out of the sloping and the flat roof is the use of the sheet over the flat roof or even the sloping roof. This is exactly the replica of having an umbrella over your house. You already built the house is fine, but you just hold an umbrella over it. So that is another thing that is happening now, and that has a lot of variation, right? It has a lot of, you can change the colors, the materials, it all changes the character of the house, and the earlier it is planned, the better it is integrated with the elevation of the house at the beginning of the design, the better it is for the people who see the house from the outside.
Anuj, what do you have to say about this?
I concur with most of the things which Sudha has said. The thing is that traditionally we have been having sloping roof in Kerala because of the monsoons and the heavy rains, but now technology has improved, technology has changed.
The flat roofs people were not doing much basically because of the water logging problem in the roof, but now the waterproofing technology has changed, the drainage technology has changed. So if you give a lot of care into this, we can have also flat roofs as well as sloping roofs in our kind of geographical location. However, I also believe that roof is a major element which, because of the rain we have, can be a major element for harvesting the rain. So if we provide proper facilities for harvesting the rain which falls on that, that is again going to help you in your sustainability, because water is something which is becoming very scarce right now. So rainwater harvesting from your roof is something which everybody should think about. And most importantly, when you design the house, the form of the house should also start evolving in the designer's mind, the architect or the designer's mind. So the roof is an element which has to be thought about very initially, right when you plan the house itself. So the form of the house is thought about. It makes a different, it's a very important factor of the house. And I don't agree with the concept of adding another metal sheet roof over a house to protect it. I believe that that is not the way you should go about it. You should think about it initially itself.
Alright, thank you so much, and with this I think it's time for us to wind up with this beautiful episode of Polycab, India's #1 cable and wires company Dream Home Season 6.